Hello everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video we're going to be doing a set of builder gel nails with a fruity design. So I really hope you all enjoy watching. Now for the video I'm going to be working on a practice hand and I have already applied my tips to extend the natural nail beds. Now if you was working on yourself you would need to make sure that you do all of your cuticle prep first of all before applying any of your gel products. I do have a dedicated prep video up on the channel, so I will leave that linked in the description box below. Now, although I don't need to do any prep on the practice hand, I'm just going to make sure to really cleanse the nail plate using one of the alcohol pads just to make sure that there's no dust on the nail before coming in with my rubber base coat. So as you can see here, I'm going to apply the rubber base coat to the entire nail. Now, you don't necessarily need to apply this to the tips. The base coat mainly needs to go on your natural nail bed, but I do sometimes find it a little bit easier just to apply it to the entire surface of the nail when I'm using tips. It kind of helps even out the surface between the tip and the natural nail bed, even though I have filed them slightly. Now, when I'm applying the rubber base coat, I like to really scrub it in to that natural nail plate. It is slightly thicker than your regular base coat, so I like to make sure that I'm applying the layer nice and thin and making sure that it's going to adhere really nicely to that natural nail plate. The rubber base coat is a fab base coat if you have any clients who have got weak nails or slightly brittle or damaged nails, because it gives that extra layer of strength where it is that little bit thicker. So I'm then going to pop that in my LED lamp to cure. I'm then going to be building these nails using the Kiki London Easy Build Up Gel. So the colour I'm using here is the new shade, which is called Neutral Pink, and it's a bit of a glassy rose pink. It does look a little bit transparent when you first apply it, but you can build the coverage up with this one. So I'm going to begin by applying a thin slip layer of gel. So this is a wet layer of gel that you make sure you apply to the entire nail. With this layer, I like to make sure I'm getting a nice neat cuticle line, I'm getting my product nice and neat around my sidewalls, and then I'm going to leave that wet and pick up my thicker ball of gel. Now I'm going to be building this now up in layers because of the design that we're going to be doing. So although I'm coming in with a thicker ball of gel, I'm not actually applying too much of a thick layer here. One, because I want a little bit more coverage from the colour, and two, because there are different techniques that you can use with the builder gel. So I wanted to show you a different technique compared to how I did the builder gel nails in my previous video. I'm then going to come in with my second layer of gel, and I'm not going to build up this layer as much. I'm just going to kind of paint it on like I would a gel polish, because I just want a little bit more coverage from the colour. I'm going to be adding glitter and nail art into this now, but I just wanted a bit more of the pink to pop through. So I've then popped that in to cure for 60 seconds. All of the builder gels require a 60-second cure. And then we're going to move on to some of the encapsulated nail art. So on my palette, I've popped down a tiny amount of base coat, and then I'm going to mix in a finer glitter into that base coat. Now for this particular design, it's kind of going to all pull together once we get towards the end of the video, because some of the nail art is going to be encapsulated and some of the nail art is going to be painted on top. So this first step here that I'm doing, I'm just creating a rough shape of an orange. So you know, like a sliced orange segment. I'm painting on that sort of half circle shape at the tip of the nail using that base coat and glitter mix. And then once this is encapsulated, I'm going to paint on the details of my orange at the end, because that way you kind of get a bit more of a dimensional look to the nail art. And I do prefer encapsulating glitters in the builder gel rather than a top coat, because it gives a completely smooth finish. So as you can see, all I'm doing is I'm taking my Kiki London detail brush and I'm painting on that glitter. I don't need to worry about applying it super thin because we're going to be encapsulating it, so it's going to all smooth out once we put our clear encapsulation layer over. Then I also wanted to add on some of these little lime pieces. So I've cut some up and I've left some as whole shapes, I believe. And I'm just popping them down with a little bit of base coat on my brush just to simply hold them in place. And then when we pop this now into cure, they will cure in place and then we can encapsulate them without moving them around. But before popping it into cure, I just wanted to tap on a couple of mylar flakes, just because I wanted these two nails to be really pretty and really sparkly. And I love mylar flakes in gel because the clarity of the Kiki London builder gels are so clear, so that when you encapsulate anything sparkly, it ends up looking super pretty. So before encapsulating that now, I'm going to do very similar on the ring finger, except for we're going to have a lime at the cuticle area with the glitter and then some orange Fimo pieces popped on to encapsulate. So I'm doing the same as before. I've put my wet slip layer down to begin with, and then I'm just building up the color a little bit with this builder layer. And one of the things that I really love about this new neutral pink shade is that it's very, very versatile. So you don't necessarily have to put a clear layer down underneath for when it comes to doing a redesign on your clients. You'd be able to file back to this color, and where it's quite natural, you'd be able to pop any design over the top. So once I'd popped that first layer of gel into cure, I'm just coming in and building that colour up a little bit more. I wanted it to look a little bit more opaque so we could cover that join where the natural nail bed and the extension tip meet. So that's why I just wanted to build this up a tiny bit more. But like I said, I'm not too worried about the colour because we're popping all that glitter over the top. And also at this point, I'm not worrying about building up any strength or structure because we have still got to pop our encapsulation layer down. So whenever you're doing any nail art and you know that you're going to be doing several layers, you want to try and keep your layers on the thin to medium size so that you don't end up with a too bulky nail. Now I'm doing exactly the same as what I did with the orange glitter. I'm just doing it with green because this is going to be our lime, and I wanted this one up in the cuticle area just so that the nails don't look too samey. So as you can see, when I'm working with glitter and a base coat mixed together, I like to kind of float it on just to help make sure those glitter pieces are mixed really well into the base coat. And then again, just popping on some little orange pieces towards the tip of the nail, and then I'm going to add on those mylar flakes as well. Now I'm really loving fruity nails at the moment. I've seen quite a lot of them. They're just really fun, I think, to do in the summer. So let me know in the comments below what you think of this design and whether you've done any fruity nails yourself. I especially liked these because they were a mix of encapsulated nail art and hand painted nail art. When we come and paint the hand painted details on, it kind of pulls everything in the design together. It just looks a bit random at the moment though. Now that I've finished the nail art on those two nails and cured it, I'm going to come in and encapsulate. So I'm using the Kiki London Easy Build Up in Crystal Clear for this. Now what I'm going to do is apply that slip layer. So this is your wet layer of gel, and I'm making sure that this goes right up to the cuticle area as close as I can to the side walls without touching any of the skin. And I'm also making sure to really get it around those Fimo pieces because they do tend to stick up a little bit. So by doing this with my slip layer, I know that my thicker layer is definitely going to coat them. Then I'm picking up my larger ball of gel and I'm just working this down the nail. I'm making sure that I leave a fair bit up in that natural nail bed area to build up the apex, because in this layer is where we need to make sure we do build up the strength and the structure of the nail. It doesn't matter too much if the nails look a little bit uneven or a little bit thick at this point, because we can fix that when it comes to filing. But in all honesty, I find that the Kiki London Easy Build Up gels self-level absolutely beautifully. So there's always minimal filing to do anyway, and if you do have any filing to do, this product files very, very easily. So once again, doing exactly the same on the ring finger. We've popped down our thin slip layer, then I'm picking up that larger ball of gel. And you do need to be careful when you pick up your larger ball of gel, because the more product you have on the brush, the trickier it can be to control. But I like to just work my product from side to side, gently down the nail. The video has been sped up, so it does look as though I'm working a little bit faster than what I am. You do want to make sure when you're working with a gel product that you're not moving it around too quickly or too harshly, as that can put air bubbles into the gel, which you don't want. So now that I'm happy with how that nail is encapsulated, I'm going to pop that into cure, and that's those two nails done for now. Further along in the video, I'm going to file them and then we'll add the hand painting. But on the other two nails, I'm going to be doing a plain gel polish color on those, but if we were working on a client, we would still need to build those up. So I'm going to build them up with the neutral pink. Now the neutral pink is a fab color if your clients are wanting a builder gel extension with gel polish over the top. I find a tinted pink color a lot easier to work with than a clear because you can see where you're putting it. So when you're sculpting especially, clear can be a little bit tricky to see because of how clear it is. But if you have a tinted pink like this neutral pink or the nude tone, for example, from Kiki London, I find it a little bit easier to build with those because you can see really easily where you're putting the product. You will see there that I built up my layers exactly the same as before. So here I'm coming in with that second layer, applying my wet slip layer down, and then I'm just going to use a medium-sized ball of gel to build that nail up a little bit more because we don't need to encapsulate this with the clear. So I need to make sure that I'm building up all of my strength and my structure with the neutral pink. Now, depending on the length of nail that I'm doing, I will either do this in 2 layers like I've done here, or I might do it in 1 layer if the natural nail beds are quite small or if the extension I'm doing is quite short. It really depends on the client and the length of nails that you are working on. So I then did exactly the same on the little finger, cured them for 60 seconds, and this is what the nails are looking like so far. I'm then going to take one of the Kiki London alcohol pads and give the nails a really good cleanse to remove the tacky inhibition layer that the Kiki London Easy Build Up gels leave behind. You need to do this before you come in and file. And I'm then going to take my Kiki London file and refine the nails. Now the Kiki London file is a 100 grit side and a 180 grit side. So I'm using the 180 grit side because in all honesty, I find the builder gels file really easily. So if you've built up your nail and you're quite happy with it, you only really need to refine it. And I find that doing that with the 100 grit side takes down too much of the product. You don't want to be taking off product. You want to just be smoothing it out and shaping the nail. So I find the 180 grit side of the file sufficient for this. So as you can see, I'm tidying up my sidewalls. I'm going for a slightly tapered square shape, so I'm making sure that I'm using my file flat up against the sides to create the shape, and then I'm coming over the surface of the nail and I'm checking from all angles, running my thumb over it so I can feel the product, just to make sure that everything is nice and smooth, there's no lumps or bumps where I don't want them to be, and that I've got my apex in the correct place. Do bear in mind you don't want to overfile the nails and end up filing down that apex because it's really important for your strength and structure of the nails. Once I'm happy with the filing, I'm going to come in and buff the nails just to remove the harsh scratches that the file leaves behind. And then this is what our nails look like. They're lovely and dusty, so we need to make sure we give them a good scrub to remove all of that dust. So I do first of all come in with a dry brush, and then I like to spray a little bit of alcohol on it and give them a further scrub just to really remove all of that dust. If I'm working on myself, it's a little bit easier to remove the dust, but when you're working on the silicone practice hand, the dust loves to stick to them, so you have to give them a really good scrub. Now we're going to add our fruity details to our orange and lime. So I'm taking Kiki London Limelight and Peach Side. These are both from the new Neon Pastel collection. And then I started off doing my details with the detail brush, but I ended up switching to the stripe liner brush because it suited what I was doing. But as you can see here, I've loaded up my brush with the peach side and I'm going around that glitter circle that we created. And this just really helps doing it this way because if your glitter you've applied isn't a perfect sharp circle, you're able to come in and do it with your gel polish. Here you can see I'm using the Kiki London round nail art brush just to really neaten up the line. This is where I was finding it a little bit tricky to do with the detail brush, so I decided to swap to the stripe liner brush. This is my go-to brush. I genuinely could not live without this brush. Now I'm going to use the stripe liner brush to draw on the inner parts of the orange. So just simple lines going in to the center, and then I'm going to do a rough circle shape to be that center part of the orange. You can flash cure this as you're going for 10 seconds just to freeze those lines in place before you do a full cure. It depends on how you're working and how confident you are. I like to keep popping my nail art in for a flash cure because then I don't have to worry about smudging it or having to worry about restarting if I make any mistakes. So as you can see, I'm just simply drawing on those inner segments of the orange, and the peach side was perfect for this. Then I'm going to do exactly the same on the lime using the limelight. So I found it a lot easier with the stripe liner brush to go around and do the circle part. It kind of does boil down to personal preference because the detail brush, I know lots of other techs would find easier for this, but I personally prefer a slightly longer bristled brush when I'm working. So I found it easier to do with the stripe liner brush, but that's why I love that Kiki London have a few different brushes available, because you can find one that works for you. So then, same as before, I'm just going to draw on those segments for the lime. Now the limelight colour is slightly on the sheer side. It's one of those colours that, because it has neon and glow factors to it, this does glow under UV light, it's a little bit more sheer. So it's one of the colours that definitely needs 2 coats. So I decided I would do 2 coats on both of the colours just to really make the colours pop, because they are being painted over a glittery background. So I've done that first coat. I'm making sure to get that as neat as possible so that then when I do come in and apply the second coat, I haven't got to stress too much about getting everything nice and neat. I can simply just go over the lines that I've already done, which is exactly what I'm going to do here. Now, whenever I do builder gel nails, I do prefer to do them on my own nails rather than on a practice hand, because I think it's a little bit easier to show different steps and when it comes to filing. But I did already have product on my own nails, so I hope it's still enjoyable to watch on the practice hand. Let me know the kind of videos that you guys would like to see in the comments below, because that really helps me when it comes to planning and creating content for the channel. Now at the moment, the nail I feel still looks a little bit messy. We've got a mix of the hand painted nail art and the glitters underneath look a little bit matte, so it doesn't look as nice as what it's going to look when you come in and apply that top coat. So make sure you stick around to the end of the video to see how those glitters really come to life and pull the set together once we pop our top coat down. Now on the pointer finger, I'm going to come in with the peach side and do a full nail of this. So I'm just applying a really thin first coat to begin with, using my brush to get a nice neat cuticle line. As you can see, I really let that brush fan out and pull the colour down. I'm not worrying with the first coat about building up any coverage. I'm just getting a first layer down. I know that I can come in and apply a second or a third coat to get the coverage. 99% of the Kiki London colours, 2 coats is all you need. You do have the odd colour like the limelight, which I personally find over a pink base needs 3 coats. If you didn't want to do 3 coats of it, a tip that I would recommend is doing 1 coat of coconut and then 1 coat of limelight, and the green will really pop basically. But because we're going over a pink nail here, I did end up doing 3 coats of the limelight just so it really popped. On certain designs and on certain nails, you'll probably find that you do only need 2 coats of it, but where I work quite thin with my gel polishes, I prefer to come in and add that third coat of colour just to get it to really pop. It is the only colour in the Neon Pastel collection that I found needed a 3rd coat, and I do think that's because of the UV and the glow properties it has. It's just a little bit more on the sheer side compared to a lot of the other colours have the more creamy consistency to them. You can see here that 3rd coat of colour just helps to make it pop. I'm then going to pop those in to cure for 30 seconds, and we're now ready to come in and top coat. So I'm going to be using a combination of the rubber top coat and the no wipe matte top coat. I decided I wanted to do the pointer and the little finger matte because I haven't done too many of the neon pastel colours with a matte top coat, so I really wanted to see what they would be like, and I thought it would help draw the attention to the middle and the ring finger as well, with those having the glossy top coat to help those glitters pop. So as you can see, I've put a thin layer of the matte top coat down, and then here I'm coming in with the rubber. Now the rubber top coat is slightly thicker than your regular top coat, but it has to be one of my go-to top coats from Kiki London. I just love it. It's so versatile, and because it's a rubber top coat, it's that little bit thicker, so it works really well for helping to strengthen the nails and sealing in any nail art. Where we have got the hand painted nail art on the surface of this nail, the rubber top coat really helps smooth all of that out. I really do like to work it in when I'm working with the rubber top coat though, so I like to go over the nail a few more times than I would a regular top coat. However, it does self-level once you leave it and pop it in your lamp to cure. Then I switched back to the matte top coat for the little finger, popped them in to cure, and this is the finished result. So I really liked how adding that top coat helped the glitters underneath come to life on those two fruity nails. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this design. I really hope you all enjoyed watching. If you did, then please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and leave us a comment below. If you're not already subscribed, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I shall see you all again in next week's video. Lots of love. Bye bye.